Without a ball, it's just a court. Without your spirit, it's only a game. So together with the fans, we bring our best.
Hennessy is excited to celebrate the intersection of basketball with art, music, and fashion. Each of these elements of culture represent ways that fans, players, supporters pay homage to the game, both on and off the court.
Hennessy and Mitchell and us have come together for the ultimate drop, a limited edition collection to mark their shared love for basketball culture and to celebrate Hennessy's continued partnership with the league.
The exclusive collection will have a limited drop available for both in retail and online, and will be featured on the Hennessy Arena Tour, making stops in
San Francisco, Saturday, March 9th, Dallas, Sunday, March 17th,
Atlanta, Saturday, March 30th.
Come see Club 520 podcast taped live in each city.
For your next pregame, let's share a twist on the classic, the Hennessy Margarita.
A squeeze of fresh lime juice
And a bit of agave syrup, top it off with some ice and a salted rim.
Mix it, shake it, pour it.
and enjoy the spirit of the NBA.
Hennessy, without your spirit, it's only a game. 21 and over only.
Please drink responsibly.
Subscribe to our YouTube, Club 520. We clowning on that mother.
Just hit the button.
God.
Don't ask more questions.
Subscribe.
All right, we back. Another episode of Club 520 Podcast. I'm the host. My name is DJ Wells. We not in studio today, but we still on the west side. Did it recording live from the historic Indy 500. You know what I'm saying? Got a special guest with me to my right. Little bit switch of a, you know what I'm saying? We in your spot, you know what I'm saying? We appreciate you having us in here. This wonderful, luxurious, you know what I'm saying, home that you stay in while you trapping. So we got a little bit different of a setup here. To my left, my dog, Young Nacho, Young Teague. How you what, man?
Good, man. Honored to be here. Like you said, we in a luxury apartment.
You know what I'm saying?
Tour bus. I don't know what you want to call it, but nah, it's dope.
I like tour bus. Tour bus sounds good.
Okay.
So, you know what I'm saying? Be here. My dog, Bishop, out the Pearlies. How you what, Nasty? Got your feet kicked up?
Yeah, you know what I mean? Shout out to CD. Appreciate it. Yeah, well, let's pod, Nasty. Let's get to it.
Hey, it's funny. No matter where we go, we know you're going to get comfortable. You know what I'm saying? You see the hen dog.
I love the hospitality. This has been my friend for over a decade. He ain't never greeted it. I ain't got a handshake at the door or nothing. So.
For sure, we got a special guest to my right, man. Driver extraordinaire. One of the best things to come out of Noblesville. He races in every single league you could think of. Conor Daly, appreciate you letting us come to your home, you know what I'm saying, mobile home, while you trapping and pull up, and appreciate you, man.
Hey, thank you guys. Honestly, it's really cool to have you guys here. This is our favorite month. This is our Super Bowl. This is our NBA championship. This is everything all wrapped into 1 month. So it's cool to share it with as many people as possible as we kind of get closer to the race.
For sure, man. Like you said, historic race. One of your favorite races, you know what I'm saying? And it's crazy for all of us. We all grew up in Indianapolis. All of us especially grew up on the west side. And it's crazy, like you said, raising awareness of like such an amazing event. We have millions of people who come in town for the Indy 500, but there's so many people from the city who have grew up 10, 15 minutes away and have never came to this track.
I know. You know what's funny is I come across those people a lot, and they're like, you know what? I've never actually been to that race. I was like, why not? Like, you guys have to come at least once in your life because it's just unique. I mean, it's the single largest attended sporting event in the world. I mean, we have it right here in our backyards.
Yes,
you know, I mean, in Indy. And I think honestly, as a city, we do sports pretty well. Like we do these events well, and so I'm really proud of it because like this is my hometown, and like I'm the only driver on the grid that's like from Indy. So I love to represent for the state and the city too.
For sure, man. We're going to talk about your lineage in a minute, but we always start off the episode with a fun question, obviously. T, you know what I'm saying? He started off driver early. You had a question about that?
Yeah, I was going to ask him, man, like, what was your video game growing up that you like driving? Like, we all play Need for Speed, Gran Turismo. What was your game?
But I mean, you listed some of the best ones. I mean, I was Need for Speed Underground 2.
Okay.
There was also like Need for Speed Midnight Club. I didn't play as much, but like Gran Turismo 3, big one. Gran Turismo 4 was kind of like after I enjoyed it, but like Forza Motorsport was a big one on Xbox. I was an Xbox guy. So
I'm still an Xbox guy.
Exactly. Like, so like when Halo 2, that was me. I was a big Xbox guy. But yeah, Project Gotham Racing 2, that was one of my favorite games. If those are like real racing nuts, we're into that one maybe. But yeah, those are the ones. Those are the ones I liked.
What car did you pick though?
In which one?
Gran Turismo.
So Gran Turismo 3?
Yeah. What was your car, man?
It was always the Nissan Skylines. I was a big Nissan Skyline
said
guy.
He was going to say Nissan.
I'm a big Nissan
crazy.
Skyline guy. My favorite car of all time is the Nissan Skyline R34 GTR. So the one from Too Fast, Too Furious.
I was about to say,
shout out Fast and
That's
Furious.
hard.
Now, I'm going to ask you another question, but before we get past, we got to show respect to one of the best racing games of all time, Mario Kart. There's no way we could get past this, and I know.
I suck at Mario Kart.
What's going on? Oh, my bad. Sorry.
Yeah.
I guess. Now listen, I understand that you're a real driver. I know it's different simulations, but for some of us civilians, that Mario Kart 64 was the Bible.
I still play it.
Dude, it's a great game. I suck at it. I don't know what about it is. Like, this is my life. This is my career. I am awful at Mario Kart. I don't know if I'm just. I don't know. I just don't get
That
it.
joystick weak, Paul.
Yeah, exactly. That's it. Yeah.
That's
great.
That's the worst. Like,
I'm not a joystick guy.
Yeah,
I need a wheel. Yeah.
Hey, y'all gotta chill, man. Hey. That's a good one, man.
We talking about games. Now we gotta get to the
Yep.
fun part. Even though it's probably ridiculous, what's some of your favorite racing movies?
Oh,
That's a
great
good
question,
bro, for sure.
Well, my favorite movies are the Fast and the Furious 1 through 4.
Turn up.
I'm a big nerd over the Fast and
Tap
the Furious.
Even the one with Bow Wow? You like Tokyo Drift?
Absolutely. Dude,
Oh,
Tokyo Drift.
that's
I can quote every single line from every single Fast and the Furious movie,
Tokyo
all the way
Drift,
through like
they
the
lost.
sixth one.
Yeah.
The Tokyo Drift, the RX-7, the orange and black car in that movie. Still, I want that in my collection at some point.
Respect.
So look, I'm a big nerd about Fast and the Furious, but when it comes to like actual racing movies. There's a movie called Grand Prix, which is like very old school. It's like a 70s, 80s movie. That movie was sick. But honestly, Rush, that came out not too long ago, with Chris Hemsworth and Daniel Bruhl, and those, like, that was a great movie about like Formula One and racing. But yeah, those are kind of the
I'm a
racing
little
movies.
older, man. I like Days of Thunder.
Days of Thunder was awesome.
Man,
yeah,
come
Days of
on,
Thunder.
man.
I mean, I still, if that's on TV, I'm gonna watch it.
Yeah, I
watch
want that Mountain Dew car so bad.
I don't think you didn't even mention the greatest one.
What do we got?
Talladega Nights.
That is an incredible story. Yeah, great
If you're
story.
not first, you what?
Last.
My boy.
I actually have a shirt in the back that says that. So
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's lit.
I
Look,
should have wore it.
that's one of the best movies about fatherhood. You see what he did to get him back on the track?
Yep. There you go. The Tiger. You got to. Would you drive with a Tiger in your car?
For sure, bro. For sure. I am the Tiger.
A Cougar. Sorry, a Cougar.
Yeah, it was a
We
cool.
like
I love
that too.
Cougars. Yeah. All right.
Oh, mine a cougar next time.
I love it.
They fine today, my boy.
But speaking of that, obviously that's a fictitious movie, but you know what I'm saying? Your lineage of driving, how was it for you? Like, when did you start driving? Because driving is not a sport that you can just go to your YMCA and tap in.
Yeah, no, it's true. When I was 10 years old, we actually had a neighbor. Like I was in Noblesville, growing up in Noblesville. Had a neighbor that actually asked my dad. My dad was a Formula One driver, IndyCar driver back in his
Shout out to
before I
Pops.
was born. Shout out to Dad. Yeah. They actually asked my dad if he could help them. They bought a go-kart and they went out to the racetrack, and my dad asked me if I just wanted to come along. And so when we got out there, he asked if I wanted to get in the cart. I got in because I was like, yeah, sure, of course. 10-year-old kid, like, yeah, get in a go-kart, absolutely.
Yeah.
And so got out there and realized that right then, like, it was like, this is something that I really enjoy doing. I didn't know it was possible to do something like this, like to drive something fast. At 10 years old, you're feeling, you're doing 30, 40 miles an hour. You feel like that's really fast. So yeah, from then on, I asked my dad, like, hey, like, can we do this too? And so then from age 10 on, you kind of, racing is interesting because not a lot of people realize that, like, it's kind of like any other sport in the years of progression. Like, I did racing when I was in middle school, when I was in high school. And like, if you're going to play basketball or probably football, you're probably also going to play that sport through those years. Yeah. So we're doing the same thing, but just in like smaller karts that are not quite as fast. And then there's a step up, and then there's a step up, slightly faster, slightly bigger, slightly faster, slightly bigger. And then you get into cars kind of when you're in that 15, 16-year-old age. So that was kind of how it all started, really.
Dang, that's crazy because, like you said, you go through that progression. Your pops, you know what I'm saying, did this for a living, went crazy with it, and let you kind of naturally ask him to join the sport. Mr. Teague said, nah, y'all get in that gym.
Nah, my pops had us playing basketball 4 or 5. We ain't had no choice.
Yeah, there you
You
go.
gonna play basketball. I don't
Yeah.
think he's seen us going to the NBA or anything like that, but you was gonna pick up a basketball for sure.
Well, see, I mean, and that's awesome. Like, my dad was always just making sure that I wanted to do it, which I respect, because like I wouldn't want to. I guess it's such a weird sport. Like, it's not like the normal, like, because it costs money, right? Like you have to. There's a lot of things that you could go out and get a basketball and just shoot hoops. Like, that's very like accessible. Whereas racing definitely it's not as accessible, and so we had to work a lot at trying to get the equipment, get the stuff. You know what I mean? And I was very lucky to have help from my parents to do that first initially, and then once we get into it, it's like you got to really be sure that you want to do this, because there will be a lot of expense from both like myself, my family, like people that are going to support us, to get going down that road.
For sure. And like, I mean, we'll get to a little bit later, but like even just now, you live on the circuit.
Yeah.
Like y'all got home games. They don't got no home games.
Yeah.
This is my home game right here, the Indy 500. But but other than that, the rest of the year is away. So like you're moving and shaking. Well, I mean, we're a traveling circus essentially. You got all these teams, all the crew guys. Everyone just kind of packs up their stuff, moves on. Race weekend is 3-4 days in a row usually, and then that's it. But then we've got the month of May, which is longer than normal. It's 2.5 weeks. But yeah, it's a weird lifestyle.
For sure. And obviously we can talk about, instead of 500, but you race in different types of leagues. What's been some of your favorite like moments from different leagues to race in? Because it's obviously different types of cars, even though it's still racing, but different types of adjustments you got to get into.
Yeah, I've been lucky for sure. I mean, I've lived a weird lifestyle in racing terms. I've kind of done like I've got to drive a Formula One car, which feel very lucky to have got to do, and I've raced in the Daytona 500 and the NASCAR Cup Series and Indy 500. So like I've got to do almost everything, which is really cool. Sometimes your life pathway doesn't work. I tried to be a Formula One driver when I was younger, ended up coming back here, through situation out of my control, right? But man, like the IndyCar series and the Indy 500, there is nothing like this event. Like I've done the Daytona 500, which is obviously everyone knows the Daytona 500. It's like, hey,
elite.
that's NASCAR's biggest event. Like that's awesome. But even I just had Dale Earnhardt Jr. on my podcast like last week, and he was like, look, I've done the Daytona 500, but there's nothing like the Indy 500. Like when I went there and saw it, like this is an incredible event. And so getting to do this will be my 11th Indy 500. There is nothing like this event, and this is for sure my best memory, like my best experience. It's just there's nothing like this event.
And what's crazy is I ain't gonna throw your age out there, but you know what I'm saying, he's in the low 30s. For you to be doing that
32,
many times,
it's okay,
32.
Yeah, we'll take it.
For you to do that many times, that means you've been in this event since you were in your 20s, which is crazy.
21 was my first one. Yeah, just a
How
young,
was that?
Just a young lad.
How was that your first time?
It was crazy.
21.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, at that age, I was kind of, it all just happened so fast. You're like, oh, here's my opportunity. You know what I mean? And I wasn't at that pro level yet to where I like that was the first time I got paid to race a car. I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Like I can make money doing this. Like this is wild. And I was like racing still in Europe full time. So I'd kind of come back to May, did it, and it was an amazing experience. Like I, cried when I qualified for the race for my first time because it was crazy. We were going up against your guy, Buddy Lazier, and to try to qualify in the race back in the day. But it was an amazing experience. But the thing is, it still feels like that here every May. Like that feeling hasn't gone away. Like that feeling of like butterflies in my stomach when I walk in this track, and when we go out to suit up for practice tomorrow, when the race weekend happens, this is the coolest thing.
You remember what you placed?
I placed 20th or 21st. I caught on fire 2 times.
Damn.
Yeah, during the race. So it wasn't the greatest race my rookie year, but we did finish. Right. We did finish just slightly on fire.
Was you living like this?
I actually did have a motorhome, but they didn't put me in this lot. Okay. I was actually in like the less cool people lot, like outside the track.
Had to work your way up.
Yeah, I had to work my way up. So I was like a little bit outside, which I was kind of frustrated by, but someone did give me a bus to stay in, which I thought was the coolest thing ever.
So when did you experience this lifestyle? When did the after parties be after partying?
Well, that was 2015. Yeah, like I'd missed one the next year. So 2013 was my first 500. 2014 I was actually racing in Monaco in Formula 2. So like I didn't race in the Indy 500 that year because I was over there. But then 2015 I was back. So that was when things I started to get a little bit more real. Like it was there was a pretty cool after party after that year. I'm not gonna lie, that was fun. That was fun.
That's what I care about.
Yeah.
The real game starts after the game ends.
Yeah.
I think 2015 was a good year for me too.
Yeah. Hey, good.
Yeah. I had a nice after party.
Oh, all right.
Hey, what's crazy is, like you said, at that point you started getting the sponsorships. You know a little bit about racing sponsorships yourself.
Oh. Yeah, I own a gym here called The Factor, and we, like you said, we sponsor Buddy, and
shout out to Buddy.
he wrecked.
He did, yeah. What year was that? 2017 or?
Yeah, I think it was 2017.
I believe so.
Yeah.
His
Or-
first year at the factory opened,
Yeah.
whatever that year that was.
And he
so,
wrecked.
yeah.
No, it might have been 2018. Something like that. I don't remember, but
I was in
It
that
wasn't a
race
great
'cause
memory.
I do remember seeing the factory on the car. So
yeah. When we
respect
seen it, the last picture we seen,
yeah.
it just said Turi.
You rode in him, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, he fucked the vibes up.
Oh, he was the problem.
I just said it, and I ain't go around the track. I just said it.
And I gotta ask you about this. In our culture, is one of the most important things in high school. We close in your same age group, but like racing jackets was like the absolute shit. Did you rock with those too?
You know what? I did not. I don't think I don't think I had any when I was a kid, but they are so like racing jackets now are so back. Like racing jackets
Yeah,
are
bro.
fully back. I actually got a couple this week, and they're sick. But I didn't have any. I don't know if I was. I never thought of myself as like cool enough to wear racing jackets. I was just like a guy that was just trying to do my thing. You know what I mean? That was it.
Man, you was out here building the car,
I
driving
know,
the car.
yeah.
You was more important to all of us.
Yeah, he was cooler than that.
I know. I'm very self-deprecating. I'm just like I just kind of stay.
Respect.
I'm just gotta do my thing, and I've tried to be the best that I could be, silently.
Who was your favorite NASCAR driver?
My favorite NASCAR driver?
Yeah.
It's a great question. My boss, like my podcast is under Dale Earnhardt Jr.'s media
Shout out to
company.
Dale.
Shout out to
Shout
Dale.
out to Dale.
Dale Jr., Dale Jesus. He's obviously
For sure,
probably a
dope.
legend.
Yeah.
But oddly enough, my car number for this Indy 500 this year is 24.
Okay.
My
So,
God,
yeah,
man, that's
so-
fine.
There you go. Wait, you
Legendary
got-
jacket.
So I've
For
got
sure.
special shoes and gloves for this race for the Rainbow Warrior. They got the flames on them with the DuPont like paint scheme.
That's
24.
hard.
So I've got
See.
full Jeff Gordon tribute shoes and gloves for this,
Oh,
this
that's
month
dope.
of May.
That's dope.
That's
Nah,
fire.
that's
That was my
hard,
favorite
bro.
Yeah.
driver because his name was Jeff.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, so
Yeah, man.
Jeff Gordon's also very high up on the list.
That was the hardest NASCAR jacket ever, bro.
Oh,
that
yeah.
leather
the
DuPont.
DuPont Rainbow
Yeah, bro.
Warrior.
For
Yep.
sure. For
I'm
sure.
going with Dale Earnhardt.
He's going to be out here this May.
Man, help me set that up.
Jeff Gordon, man, we would love to just to
That'd
take
be
5 minutes of his
crazy.
time.
Yeah. I would love to see that interaction, honestly.
Nah,
Me, he, and
yeah.
Jeff Gordon together.
Yeah.
We need it.
Nah,
Yeah, we
for
have to
sure, bro.
Unbelievable.
Dang,
Pay-per-view.
Yeah.
For sure.
that's hard.
Now, just from a simple standpoint, I know you can expound upon it many ways, but like for the average person, they don't understand how hard like an actual race is. For one, you were in your car for how long?
Yeah, I mean, the Indy 500 is about 3.5 hours, 500 miles.
Without a
Yeah.
bathroom break, right?
No bathroom break. Yeah. No food, no snacks, no nothing like that. We do have a drink bottle that's like attached like through the front of our helmet. But like that's usually boiling by about like lap 30. So it's kind of just there to just wet your whistle a little bit. Like that's about it. So it's tough. It's a lot harder than people think. We have no power steering. It's about 150 degrees in the car ish, depending on the day. So you're sweating. Like I usually sweat around 10 to 12 pounds of water weight during the race. And again, our heart rate, because there's no power steering, the steering is super heavy. So you're fighting, 3 to 3.5 G's every corner, which is, there's 4 corners. The lap is 40 seconds. So every 40 seconds you're fighting it 4 times and then doing that for, 500 miles, 200 laps. There's just a lot more that's in there than people realize, right? Because they're like, oh, well, you're sitting in there driving. Like a lot of people, that's the most common misconception is like we're just sitting in there and we're driving because everyone drives, right? Like we're out on the street, you're
Yeah.
driving down the road, but this is like trying not to die for 3 hours because like
Yeah.
it is very dangerous, like what we're doing.
sure.
Like we're doing 245 miles an hour, side by side with a bunch of other idiots who are trying to, make history in racing too. And you are at your absolute limit mentally and physically. So by the time you're at the end of this event, completely spent.
That's crazy. And like Hannah asked, what I'm saying? Like, dude, y'all get slighted as athletes because I am like, there's no way that somebody could tell me you're not an athlete. First of
for
all,
sure.
if you ever had a messed up car, driving without
Without
power
power steering
steering
is
at
nuts.
40
Yeah.
miles per hour is crazy.
That's nuts.
I
Trying
didn't
to turn
know
into
that.
your driveway without
Exactly,
power
no
steering
power
is
steering, yeah.
crazy.
Yeah, so it's we train. I mean, we train twice a day. Like people. The funniest part is though, is anyone who does say like, "Oh, drivers aren't athletes." It's like, as soon as you start to tell them like these are not like I'm not like making any of these things up. Like I wear a heart rate monitor. You can get in that car and like try to turn it just when it's off, and you're like, "Oh, it is kind of heavy." It's like, well, yeah, it's no power steering. You know what I mean? So we train, twice a day. We use the sauna, ice, everything that we can do to be ready because again, you got to stay ahead of the car physically. Because if the
Yeah.
car gets ahead of you, then you're like, if you make a mistake, it hurts a lot.
Yeah,
It hurts a lot. I've hit the wall really hard, and it hurts. Damn, crazy. Yeah.
Like you said, you caught on fire your first Indy 500. Like, what's the procedure? Like, I don't know what I'd do if my car
said
catch on
twice.
fire.
Hey, you gotta
Yeah,
get it over
that's
again.
what I mean. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. First fire, it's over.
So every time we pit, right, we get the refueler goes in, but you're trying to do it as quick as possible. And sometimes when it's 18.6 gallons of fuel that goes in about 7 seconds. So
That's unbelievable.
when you plug in and the guy maybe fumbles coming out, some fuel spills and the engine's on and the exhausts are right there and they're shooting fire essentially out. So if there's a bit of a miscommunication there, for me, it literally burst into flames and I'm sitting there and I feel it. I'm like, that's kind of hot, but like you just have to go because that will then put out the fire. So there's usually a guy that sprays a bit of a fire extinguisher, but my first year wasn't there apparently. And so I just had to go and basically let the wind put the fire out. But that happened twice, so it wasn't ideal.
And listen,
You need some baking soda in that.
Seriously. Yeah, something like that.
you trying to re-rock on a NASCAR? You crazy? Sponsored by Snowfall.
Yeah.
What's crazy is
The
like
IndyCar Series Fire Department right here. We love it. Yeah.
For sure. It's IBO CD.
if he's in charge of saving lives, it's gonna be a different sport.
Yeah.
Giving
It
him
was
the
nice knowing you
nickname
guys.
CD is
Really
crazy.
appreciate it. Thanks, buddy.
My God.
He's gonna turn into Twisted Metal.
Yeah, great.
Elite
game.
car game.
Great
Elite
game,
car
yeah,
game.
great game, yeah.
Elite car game.
Yeah.
And like you said, like with the athlete, you have every team. Like you got your coaches, the training staff, and y'all support. But for y'all pit crew is so important
yeah.
because they make a world of a difference in that second. Like you said, half a second pulling out, pause. That could have went real crazy for you with the fuel.
Yeah, it's
you
true.
that saved your life.
Races are won and lost on pit lane, and like people don't
Damn.
realize that as well. Like when you see the results page, it's driver names, right? But like
Squad.
each driver got there with their team, or if someone made a mistake in the pits, like they were further down because of it's a team effort, right?
Yeah.
So everyone has to be on it, and like my guys. You know, the last 3 weeks we've been in the shop, but we have a race shop in Zionsville. Dry Reinbold's up there. You know, we have a practice car with an electric motor in it where we can reverse it and then go right back into the pit lane. And the team actually built a pit stop area with the exact same pavement that is out here in the pit lane to try to, you know, emulate what that is going to be like. And those guys work every day of the week. Practice pit stop, 7 seconds, 6 seconds, 7 seconds, like just trying to get it right. Because that's what it's all about every tenth of a second. To be perfect, it's crazy.
We had some of those guys training at my gym up here called The Factory, and I just watched them carrying 45-pound plates. Like,
It's crazy.
I
Yeah.
was
Tires
like,
are heavy.
Yeah, I was like,
Hell yeah,
that's
especially
y'all
them
workout? Like,
Yeah.
I was like, what are they doing? They was like, oh, they pit crew. I was like, oh, shit, all right.
Damn.
It's tough, man. Yeah, but it's, you know, when you have a good pit stop, it feels so good because you're like, oh, my guy's got me. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, let's
yeah.
go. But when you have a bad one, you're like, oh, now I got a lot more work in front of me. So it's just there's 6 pit stops during the 500, so there's so many opportunities for either you can take advantage of it or you have to come back from it.
Yeah.
Now I gotta ask you a question because, like you said, it's a high intensity, very fast. Everybody's trying to win. Hey, y'all be squabbling.
Oh,
like
yeah.
them drivers, they get out, they be having beef. Like y'all be punching
Yeah.
people through helmets. Like I can imagine when you prepare so long for a moment like this, and somebody's driving not the safest and nicks you and ruins that. I could see why it's so much frustration behind that now.
Well, there's a lot of professionals out here, but they're also idiots. So like there are
For sure.
plenty of people that you know as soon as you're around them on track, they're either going to make a stupid decision. Now, again, everyone out here is very talented, but there's also people that just are not. There's always dumb people when you're doing stuff. And it
Yeah,
doesn't matter. Like
for
there are
sure.
just people who don't make efficient decisions. There's people that, you know, don't really care, but like it's an ego thing, right? So yeah, there's plenty of people who hate each other, as is in every sport, right? You have your rivals, you have your you know, people that you don't like. There's people that I don't like, but yeah, I mean, what's interesting about the 500 though is that like there's those rivalries, but it's also so dangerous that a lot of those don't play up as much as like when we're racing on the road course. Like there was a road course race that just happened over the weekend, right? The Indy GP. So that
Grand
there was
Prix.
a bunch of cars hitting each other, like just bouncing off each other. A lot of anger. But at the 500, if you do that, like you're literally either gonna be in the hospital or like, you know, it's a tough. So thankfully that doesn't play up as much, or it doesn't look like it does. But there are much more subtle movements at 230 that like make a big difference and that can make you angry. Like even all the practice this week, you're gonna have guys running together and like someone just tries to block you a little bit and like you just want to punch that guy because when you get this dirty air or like the air changes in front of you, all of a sudden your car then has this massive reaction. So there's plenty of people that hate each other, which is great for the sport. And I am happy to always be honest too about who I think is an idiot. So it's good. Yeah.
Like they do. Listen, I get pissed off if somebody cut me off at the gas station.
Exactly.
I can imagine road rage is real out here.
It's true.
Definitely.
It's true. I mean, if someone, I have said a lot of horrible words on the radio when I have, when someone has, when someone has crossed paths in the wrong way.
Now I gotta ask. Obviously, you drive for a living. What do you drive in real life?
Yeah.
So, our contracts are not as great as they used to be. But my first car was a 2004 Subaru STI, so Impreza STI. So I still have that. It's broken in my garage currently, but I have a Porsche Macan S now. So that's what I have as my daily driver.
Some slight.
But I do have a great idea for what I want in the future. So I want a Nissan Skyline R34. I need one of those.
Yeah, for sure.
And
So furious.
I'm a Lamborghini guy at the heart. I want a Lamborghini someday.
Oh, okay. You're a car guy.
I am a car guy.
Okay, yeah.
Someday. I don't know when.
Yeah,
but,
Conor, you have to detach. You have to get you a van or something. Man. You got to slow down, bro.
I
You
know.
might forget one of them nights.
When do you think my last speeding ticket was?
I was just about to ask you that. I was about to ask you, do you drive like you drive on here on the regular road?
So I don't. I have not had a speeding ticket since 2017.
Wow.
I can completely switch off like what goes on here because I just like it's really weird because some drivers like Marco Andretti, for example, Marco Andretti's at 150 miles an hour all the time. Like we're getting to dinner at 1,000 miles an hour, like full attack. And my girlfriend says that I drive kind of like a granny. So I don't know what that means, but I'm just gonna get us there. And whenever I get there,
I say, okay, so you detach from the sport.
Yeah, that's crazy though. I wouldn't like. I wouldn't be able to do that.
Especially you mentioning them cars. I can't imagine you driving the Lambo at 40.
There's some situations I will drive fast, but I just don't want to deal with tickets and I don't know.
That's good that you can detach for real though.
Yeah, because I wouldn't be able to do it. Bro. I'll be driving like, watch out.
I do get angry.
I'll be having the manual going. I'll be going wild.
And if I get pulled over, hey dog, if it's anybody you should be telling how to drive, it ain't me.
Yeah,
There's a lot of people you should be giving instructions to. It ain't me, man.
I know what I'm doing for sure.
Exactly.
I want to take it back to high school though. You went to Heritage Christian, right?
Yep.
You was growing. I mean, you went to school during them Kelly Ferris days.
Yeah, actually, that's a great reference.
Kelly Ferris.
Yeah. How was that, man? Going to school with her did they treat her different at school, or was she a superstar later on in her high school career?
Kelly Ferris. Yeah, we thought she was the biggest. She was our Caitlin Clark, right? Like she was we went to the girls basketball state championship like every year. Like it was so cool for us as because like she was 1 year older than me, maybe, or two. And so we thought it was the coolest thing ever that we had this amazing basketball team. Girls basketball team for us was so fun to watch and cheer for. So yeah, that's really funny. She actually came out to the track here last year. I saw her and her family comes out here. So yeah,
she was a superstar. I remember I'm tapped in with high school, but I remember her for sure. She was really a superstar back then.
Yeah, those were good years. We won a couple state championships.
Yeah, speaking of basketball, you said your first love was basketball.
It was. Yeah, I even we had at our school, we had a 4th grade tournament, each class, and then a 5th grade tournament. No big deal. We did win the 5th grade tournament. That's
you were 4th grade champ too, right?
Yeah, well, yes, we were. That wasn't as competitive as 5th grade.
Okay.
5th grade's more important. But yeah, man, I loved playing basketball. I was at the Indiana Basketball Academy for like 3 or 4 years in a row. Got the IBA shirts, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Todd Abernathy, obviously, he was there helping us out. So it was such a joy for me to play, and it still is now. Like I'm still not good at it, but like it was a really fun fun sport to learn and to cheer for. Like I was a Pacers guy from day one, so
yes, sir.
It was really cool. Exactly.
What position did you play?
I played person who just tried to shoot the ball.
You ain't see him in a celebrity game?
Yeah. Well,
He was on a bench.
I was the C team on the celebrity team. No big deal. 2 rebounds, 1 assist. No big deal.
Nah, keep your stats,
30.
King.
Yeah.
Stuff.
I was in the paint.
Michael
Listen,
Parsons was hating, man.
Yeah.
For the future, when somebody asks you what position you play, you have to name a position, CD. You can't say,
I was not the
I
point
was just
guard.
out there.
I was not the point
You
guard.
was playing it too. Then you shooting guard.
Did you have
I'm
good
shooting guard.
defense?
I was a big defensive guy because that was the only chance that I thought that I could have made a difference. Because
Respect.
the team didn't really have faith in my shooting. So
You were a volume shooter.
exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But I really tried. If I was an effort guy, I was an A for effort. Like, I was a big effort guy.
Respect.
Who were your favorite hoopers growing up?
Man, so I wrote a book which I did share with you guys. I didn't write a book. I drew a picture. But
That's crazy.
It was a children's book.
it was a children. Yeah, we were asked when I think we were in kindergarten to draw a picture of what you wanted to be when you grew up, and I did not put race car driver. I put the Pacers court, and I put Jalen Rose on my picture of basketball. Not even sure why. Like I don't remember if I was like a Jalen Rose fan. Obviously, I grew up too like in the Reggie Miller era. So like Reggie Miller was awesome. I have a Reggie Miller jersey. But I just love the Pacers. Like we went through all of the eras, Jeff Teague era,
Oh, man.
Roy Hibbert, you had Paul George, you had so many. There were so many names that we could follow growing up. Austin Crozier was actually. I grew up in. He owned the house my parents owned before us,
Fire.
so I knew of Austin Crozier. Like that's a really random name, but yeah, there was a lot of guys that it was really fun to follow growing up.
That
And
was
we
a
went
real
through the
44.
downtimes too. We went through the downtimes, but
Y'all back up now?
we're back up.
We
now,
back up,
yeah.
baby. By the time this
Exactly.
episode plays, we were beating the Knicks. You feel me? We gonna stand on
Destroyed
that.
the Knicks. Yeah.
Get 'em out the paint.
We ran them out of steam. Ran them out of gas.
Hey, you was with us. What happened?
I'm
Your last
still-
recap,
I'm-
you was with the team.
I'm back with the Pacers.
okay, just
I'm
making
back.
sure.
I
Yes.
played for the Pacers. I didn't play for the Knicks, so I'm back.
There you go. Perfect.
Yeah, I'm back.
That's crazy.
I'm a Celtics through and through.
Oh my God.
I do have a futures ticket on the Celtics. No big deal. I did bet on the Celtics to win the championship.
Okay.
But I
Ain't a
also
bad
have a
pick.
plus 26,000 Pacers ticket to win the championship. So
Now
That's
this
a-
might be out of pocket.
Hey, Jonte.
I was gonna say, no Jonte Porter. Can y'all bet on yourselves in racing, or is that out of pocket?
that's definitely illegal. Yeah, it's definitely illegal. Yeah. Super illegal. So I can only
Only
do-
boxing could do that.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, only boxing could do that.
Yeah, but the whole sports gambling thing though, this is really random, but for racing, like I think it's become such a big thing for like motorsport that we got to have more of that in IndyCar for our fans to do because people love it. Like people love following their guy, following whoever they're supporting. So who knows? Maybe someday we can get more and more IndyCar, IndyCar sports betting.
Do you
I'm
have a
betting.
question for him
I'm
about
betting.
the betting?
Yeah, I was about to ask you. Do people get on you like?
Yeah.
You messed up my parlay.
I have seen, yeah. Yep,
So
not
yeah,
as much.
people will come up to me and be like, "Man,
I
you
can't
ruined
even
this.
imagine.
You ruined that." Do
I
they come up to you like that and be like, "Man, you supposed to have a top 10 finish"?
Yeah.
I've had a couple people every year that are like, "Well, we bet on you to win every year. So like, when are you going to do it?" I'm like, I don't know. Like I'm trying every year. Yeah. So it's definitely, certainly more over the last 2 or 3 years,
Yeah.
right? Because it's been the huge sports gambling
sure.
boom, right?
Right.
So yeah, there's definitely a lot of people. I remember there was one 2021. There was like one of the sports books I think put up when Barstool had their sports book or whatever,
Okay.
they had put up one of their guys is from Indy, Jeff Teague, and he put up like some special bet, like if I led a lap, like what are the odds for me? I had never led a lap before at the Speedway. I led the most laps that year, and so it was like. I saw a bunch of people afterwards like, oh heck yeah, like that's our guy, like, and I was like, okay, I didn't even know this was a real thing, but
Yeah.
apparently there was a bet for me to like lead a lap, and I led the most laps that year.
That's
Yeah, I'm gonna
hard,
go
bro.
ahead and tap in this year.
Yeah. I don't know if there's gonna be one like that this year.
Don't worry about it. I believe
am not
in you.
encouraging anything. Can't do it. Not a part of it. But
Nah, you know, no,
sure.
you know
I'm
the
gonna
part.
try, but I'm gonna let you know that I am gonna try to lead every lap. So,
Yeah, I'm
you guys
gonna
do
tap in on my own. Don't worry about it.
I'm gonna take over on CD this year for sure.
the over. Yeah, I love it.
So, in the ideal world, actually, scratch that. What's been your favorite race you've been a part of so far? Like individual, what's one that stood out to you the most?
So the 2021 Indy 500 that I just mentioned, that was my first like that race was a time where I thought I had a car to win for the first time. Like I thought that feeling when I got to the front, finally led the race for the first time, and I was like, I can win this race because I've had some tough times here. Like this place hasn't been really good to me for my first few years. I had a couple crashes, and I just like there'd be a couple good moments, but it hadn't really clicked, and nothing had fallen into place. And 2021 was a big moment for me, and I was like, I'm gonna win this race, and like I thought that I could win this race. And we were leading, everything was in the right position, and then a car crashed in front of me, and the tire flew off the car, and as I'm avoiding it, it hits my front wing, and it didn't do enough damage to like really take us out, but it fully broke the front wing. So I basically had to finish the race with a broken front wing, which is wildly important. So like because if we pitted and changed the front wing, it would put us all the way to last anyway, and we were already running at the front. So sadly, that kind of ruined our race, and we finished the race with the front wing that was all off, which that's the most important part of the car are the wings because they produce all the grip. So that was a really tough one to kind of get taken away from me, but the feeling of that and the feeling, like we still finished 13th, which is not awful, but like we had no front wing, nothing. So afterwards though, seeing all the people, like seeing the videos of like fans reacting to when I took the lead, like that made me cry. It still makes me cry like every single time because it was like such a cool, like emotional sports moment. Like that I'm a big emotions guy. So like if there's a cool sports moment, doesn't matter if it's basketball, football, if like there's a cool story that like, hey, that's sweet. Like that makes you feel good. Like I love that stuff. And that was that was the biggest year I think for me, which is just feeling that for the first time here.
Oh, for sure. And as a fellow Patriots fan, we all know about crying because of sports. That's not uncommon for us. But you talked about like the cars and how important they are. These are $1 million constructed vehicles, and for you to have, you know what I'm saying, a little bit of an issue and still finish like that is crazy. But just talk about how expensive the motor, like the breakdowns of the car, because I don't think your average person knows what goes into that and why these companies are so invested in those vehicles.
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, so for us, if you buy a tub, it's called. It's basically just the cockpit that we sit in. So it's basically our safety cell. They designed this tub of the car to have all the pieces put on it because our cars are designed to, if you crash, they're designed to explode and all the pieces to fly away because that's safer. Like you don't want it to all just crunch. You want it to hit and kind of explode into 1,000 pieces. That disperses the impact in a better way. So when you buy the tub, that's like a $350,000 like just safety cell. Yeah.
There go that Lambo right there.
There you go. That's it. But all those other pieces around it. So now you put on the suspension, the radiators, the engine itself. We're not actually allowed to own the engine. So, you know, we're part of Chevrolet for this month of May. So Chevrolet, we lease an engine from Chevrolet. We're not allowed to run it unless there's a Chevrolet tech there at the shop or here at the track. We're not allowed to get in the engine. It's sealed by them, so because it's all their stuff. And you know, those engines are about 750 horsepower. Twin turbocharged engines, which are, you know, they're great for speed. But then, you know, they're all the suspension pieces, all the body work. You know, for the 500 alone, we had the cars in the wind tunnel for the last 3 weeks, like making sure every piece of the body work is as efficiently, you know, basically just, it's called a body fit, because if you're traveling through the air with as little drag as possible, the car is going to go the fastest. And here, that's the most important thing ever. So if your piece of bodywork is a little bit off, that could cost you half a mile an hour. So like you can't have that. So they spend millions of dollars. Like the budget for an Indy 500, like just to run a car at a high level, is basically $1.1 million per car, essentially. So when you got 33 cars out here, that's almost probably $40 million worth of budget that's on the track, essentially.
And y'all blow through tires like cigarettes, so.
Yep. We have 37 sets of tires for this month of May. So like we have a couple days of practice, 37 sets of tires that we got to kind of ration out per day. Like we can run usually like 3 to 4 sets per day of practice, but like in Indiana, the rain comes very randomly. So like if it rains, we might have to save a set or two. And as long as we end up with like 6 or 7 sets of tires for the race, then we've used our tires efficiently.
Damn.
Yeah. I want to ask you about the pregame, man. What are you listening to, or what are you doing to get geared up for the race?
You know, it's a good question. Honestly, a lot of people think like they used to ask me what music I listen to, and I did enjoy listening to music at one point, but now I've actually enjoyed taking in the atmosphere more, like of what's going on and like all the the people, because like my friends and family are here too, so like so feeling that is really cool. But my Indy 500 tradition is to go to the Snake Pit before the race. Like I actually legitimately go over to the Snake Pit, the massive EDM concert in Turn 3. I don't know if you guys know much about that, but there's 35,000 people inside of Turn 3 the morning of the race. Yeah. The party starts at 8 a.m. And there's a bunch of massive EDM artists that are performing from 8 a.m. till about 1:30, like right after the race starts. So I go over there from 9:50 to 10:15 a.m., get up on stage, do a little bit of raging, and then go to the driver intro.
So EDM music is your go-to.
The pregame.
It is, yeah. For that concert, it's crazy.
Yeah,
it's fun.
You turned up.
Yeah.
That is a fun experience.
Shout out to Carb Day.
Yeah, Carb Day too. I mean, Carb Day because we practice Carb Day, and thankfully the concert's afterwards. So we'll go over and check it out. We'll go over and check out what's going on over there too.
Check out the vibes.
What's your best year of Carb Day? We don't got to go into details, but when was Carb Day really lit?
When he was 8.
Most memorable.
Well, there's a couple memories from Carb Day as a young man that
as a young
I might
man,
have
respect.
discovered some things that I saw for the first time. You know what I mean? There might have been
It's all about growth.
You know, some female anatomy that I had only seen for the first time at Carb Day. This is back
That's
when
a
I was
vibe.
young. Yeah, so that's the
Sounds
Carb Day
Carb
vibe.
Day.
Though there was definitely some things that you might never see again, and you might see for the first time.
For sure, the real CD.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've seen a lot of Carb Day. It's been kind of crazy, but my favorite part is since we stay here, right? Is seeing the last people who leave the track on Carb Day. They're in bad shape. They're in bad shape.
Them stragglers.
Yeah, they're in bad shape leaving the track.
That's what we
on
call
Carb
the
Day.
last leg.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Get spooky.
Yeah.
I got one more question
Yeah,
before we keep going on or get out of here or whatever. I watched this movie Gran Turismo,
Yes.
and it was about a guy who played the video game, ended up going pro. And I was wanted to ask you, like, do you think the simulators and all those things can help a person really go pro in a race car, like racing?
We are certainly getting to an era of technology that it's pretty cool, and it is getting close. Like we've got like video games that are so good that people think that they're actually real racing drivers. Now, a lot of the times that's not true, but what Gran Turismo did and what the Gran Turismo story, it's totally true. Like that guy literally was in Europe racing the year after I was kind of leaving, and so like I knew the story, and we kind of all thought it was wild at the time, but then when he started racing and like producing results, and like, oh, this guy's, he knows what he's doing, like he's got it. And so pretty cool to see. I think we will see more of it in the future. I do think that as the racing games and the simulation technology grows, I do believe that you're going to see more and more people at least get a chance to try to drive. There are several people. I remember a few years ago, there was like a really good gaming champion, and this is back in like 2011. So this is like before the Gran Turismo story.
Yeah.
One kid got a chance to test a real race car, like after he won it. And he got in the race car and like did one lap and was like throwing up everywhere. Like couldn't physically handle it because it's a much, sitting at home and doing that. Like there's a lot of mental stuff, but physically that's the hardest part of like adjusting to a real race car. So I think in the future we could see more stories like the Gran Turismo story, but still for now you got to get in like the raw racing cars, go-karts, and be able to do it better than anyone else still.
Yeah.
And that's so crazy because that's just like somebody playing 2K and going to the NBA, which is impossible.
Impossible, bro. That's why I couldn't believe that it was a true story. I'm like, he
totally
really did
true.
that. That's crazy.
Yeah. It's pretty wild.
And you said 2011, that time period, shit. All the cars had power steering, and he got in that car and didn't know what to do.
Well, that's the thing. Yeah, it was a very funny story. Poor kid was definitely a fish out of water for sure, but it was wild.
I can only imagine.
Absolutely. Well, look, CD, we appreciate you having us in your wonderful place, man. Inviting us out here, we appreciate you, man. Best of luck coming soon, man. You know what I'm saying? We taking the over on, you know what I'm saying? You ain't got nothing to do with that, but we going to hold you down. Anything you want to tell people about your podcast, too, what you got going on as well.
Really appreciate you guys being here. Honestly, this is super cool for me, especially like Jeff. Obviously, I watched you play for years. This is like a very cool moment for me to not go crazy fanboy, but I respect what you've done in your career. What you guys are doing now with this podcast is really cool because like I've started a podcast too, and like it's fun, but it is a lot of work too. But it's amazing that you can create a great product for people to consume, and like people love to hear it. So
Appreciate it.
That's awesome. I appreciate you guys. But yeah, I have a podcast called Speed Street. It's on basically any podcast platform, YouTube as well. My YouTube channel is Conor Daly 22. I'm Conor Daly 22 on basically all the social platforms. So if you want to follow along, please do.
Tap in with my guy.
Exactly. So I this is awesome. I appreciate you guys coming, and
for
I
sure,
can't
man.
wait to see you guys get in the race car too.
Shoo.
Hey,
coming soon.
before we get up out of here,
Now take a shit.
like, do I gotta put on some equipment? Cause I don't.
You get a
okay.
full race suit, full fire suit, and a helmet.
Okay, so cause I don't wear clothes under my outfit. So
Well,
Man, something wrong with him,
I'm
bro.
happy I don't have to ride with him on that one. And on that note, we're about to get up out of here. Like, share, subscribe, get you some merch where they should get it at Be Here.
Shop Club.
He don't even know what to tell y'all because he don't want to wear the clothes himself.
he's gonna look great in that race car. He's gonna look great.
For sure. Shopclub520.com for sure, man.
For sure. Like, share, subscribe.
Can I get
Appreciate
one of the
y'all.
hats?
Yeah,
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 I need a hat.
Oh, we got
we'll
you, bro.
bring you one.
We'll
Yeah.
make sure you get a hat, bro.
Perfect.
For sure. We out.